Context of White Supremacy. Justice Gus T Renegade in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the system of racism, white supremacy. Today's date, Tuesday, December 25th, 2012, so I have been told. Hope everyone has managed to get through the horror day as best you can. If you have participated and hung out with victimized family, attempted relatives, I hope it has been constructive, minimal amount of conflict. If it has been an unpleasant experience, you can share this weekend. I hope there has been very little of that. I hope folks who are less confused have managed all of that as best you possibly can. If you have participated in any of the gatherings and what have you that are typically associated with today, I know the inertia of white supremacy does a lot to get us to waste our time and energy investing in white people's holidays and things that they tell us are important. Try to manage that as best you can without having conflict with other non-white people. And again, we can share something we can dialogue about this weekend for the compensatory call-in. With that, our guest, she was with us about almost 2 months ago, shared, I thought, quite a bit of constructive information. We discussed her book, which is Pieces of a Puzzle, the one thing black females will not talk about. Great reading material, lots of great anecdotes where she's talked to black females, victims of racism, white supremacy, about their unfortunate bedroom experiences with racist man. Very bad decision. One of the worst possible things that can happen to you under the existence of white supremacy. I would highly recommend sharing the book. And if you have the book, if you've read the book, even if you don't have the book and you've just heard some of the interviews that Ms. Tate has done, I would encourage folks, write a review. That's something that Pam tries to do to encourage non-white people to not be spectators. Write a review. It does make an impact when people go to various websites. If they're going to Amazon.com or other websites where you can purchase books, reading material, where people can see, oh, this book is not just sitting here with no comments, where people can see, oh, there are 20, 50 reviews, and most of them are positive, where people are saying how great this is and how this helped them become less confused about racism. It has a big impact. You can make YouTube videos, just whatever. As I said, if you've read the book, absolutely you should be writing a review. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be the longest thing ever. I think on Amazon, as I said before, you can just write 5 sentences. 5 sentences. Doesn't take a whole lot to contribute. It adds to sales so that more people will purchase the book. And even if they don't purchase, so that they will investigate, planting seeds to get people to rethink many of the incorrect concepts that we have been programmed with under the system of racism, white supremacy. Pleasure to have her back with us on the program. Joining us live once again, our guest, Miss Reneathia Tate. Miss Tate, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for sharing a bit more of your time with us. As I said, it was a real pleasure to have you on the program. We had a lot of great feedback from listeners who got the book, thought that was fantastic as well, and really enjoyed hearing your views on the program last time. For folks, if this is their first time hearing from you, if they missed that interview, you can hit the archives if you missed it. But for anybody, if this is their first time hearing from you, is there anything you want to share with listeners before we get started?
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for the ones that did purchasing the book. So it's been there. This book is maybe about 12 to 13 years old now. So I do want to thank everybody.
Absolutely. Before we get started, just reminding folks you are a black female, correct?
Yes.
Right on. Want to cover...
The victim of a racist act.
Absolutely. I want to make sure I covered a few things, didn't get a chance to address the last time you were with us on the program, and give listeners another opportunity to dial in if they have questions, things they would like to ask. The number, I'll give it out a few times as we roll, but the number to dial is 760-569-7676, and the code is 564-943#. Press *6 if you have questions that you'd like to ask. You can listen on the phone line as well, but if you have questions, press *6. I'll give out the number a few more times as we roll. Starting off, this is chapter 5 in your book. I'm actually going to read the quote that you begin chapter 5 with and then move over to page 245. You write, there is nothing like the fantasy, lies, pain. Out of nowhere, it hits you, shocking every emotion and leaving you crippled and all torn up inside. It's better to deal with reality. This is on 245. Marriages under the system dominated by white supremacy means that men will provide care for his wife and children. And this is the code that white people set up for themselves. However, black people only have play marriages under white supremacy. It is the racist white men and women who really provide care for their victims. Black males are not men. They are boys who are dependent on the racist man or woman. Likewise, black females are not women. They too are dependent on the racist man or woman for financial care for themselves and their offspring. When black males and females get married, they automatically go into that pretending game with one another. Black females pretend as if black males are men and expect them to act like men. Black males pretend like black females are women and expect them to handle disappointments. But black females are not women. According to the code, marriage can only exist between two or more persons, none of whom are dominated by persons who practice racism, white supremacy. You see, this is war. Black people should stop copying off of white people. What white people created was a system and or values for themselves, not for black people. Black people need a code of their own to follow, which is for them, by them. Page 245, 246 of Pieces of a Puzzle. You want to respond to that piece that you wrote?
Yeah, I'd like to say that we are in a fantasy, and I think I was in a fantasy also. That's probably why I had to do this research on the book, because my problem was the black male-female relationship problem, and I was wondering why it didn't work. Why wasn't mine working after so many tries and all that? So part of this research was my own problem that I had to solve, too, because I was I'm a female, and I wanted a romantic relationship. So fantasies are another way of saying lies, whereas reality is another way of saying truth. And we are programmed at an early age to believe a whole bunch of things that's not true. This programming started in the elementary school, where black males and females go to the program started when we were very young. They put us on two different tracks. The male believing one thing about a relationship and a marriage, and the females believing another thing about the relationship and a marriage. So we on two different tracks. Now, the female the black female, she believes that she's going to find, well, I'll start with the black male first. The black male is looking for a female who will allow him to go on adventures, okay, and one female that will allow him to go on. It could be any kind of venture, but they want, because that's what they in school they was taught. You see, the white man will go on an adventure and leave his wife at the house while he go out for maybe weeks or whatever. So the black male was taught this too in school, whereas the females were taught that she's going to find somebody that's committed to her and only her and belongs to her and only her. And those are the two different tracks that we find ourselves on, the black male and the black female relationship. We got two different definitions. So but it all started in elementary school. So this is some deep programming that started when we were young, getting the easy bake oven, playing with dolls, setting up a house. We want to set up a house, so then we're looking for a male to come in and want to want to play house with us. And in the male, the black male, in the middle, we always want to attack problems from their root source. And at the root source of the black male-female dilemma or problem or lack of relationship is the white supremacists, racists. They taught the black males to desire white women. So that's when we're off on the wrong track right there. In school, he's taught to, Blondie and all the Goldilocks and everything like that, so he's taught to desire white women. And, so this is where we are clashing. The definitions, everything is all messed up. But it's done deliberately so that we won't have harmonious relationships. And again, you really can't solve it until you solve white supremacy. You see, until we deal with this white supremacy, racism, because it's all connected. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Makes a lot of sense. You start that chapter off talking about the importance of truth. Even if it's painful, even if it's depressing, truth, that is important to solving problems and to trying to get on that road to having balanced, harmonious relationships between black males, black females, replacing white supremacy with justice. It seems that for many victims of racism, we have a very difficult time letting go of that fantasy programming, those lies that we all get from a very young age about, having a house and the picket fence and what all that is supposed to look like when you get this male-female relationship. What are some ways, short of not getting all that started in the first place, which would be best, what are some suggestions you can give to kind of help victims of racism let go of those fantasies about what these quote-unquote relationships are supposed to look like?
Yeah, well, they can at least read, at least start off, because that's where, and take it from me, I was a relationship addict. So I had to sit down and write this book, and at the time, I didn't want to write a book. I wanted to find me a relationship, see? So I was addicted to that relationship stuff. So, but I had to, figure out and sit down and look at it and and see what's going on. And then after you see what's going on, then what kind of approach can we take? As I said before, it's nothing too much we can do. I mean, we can begin to read and everything, and we can begin to deal with truth, because no one is stopping us from dealing with truth. Now, we can stop the fantasy, because fantasies are nothing but lies, basically. We can't stop the fantasies and start dealing with truth. And the way to do that is to know what it is, because what I find out, we still learning what white supremacy is and how it's set up. So it's set up at a very, very early age in us. White supremacy is inside of us at a very early age. See, and we have to start being able to reanalyze how we are thinking. It's the thoughts. Our thoughts is incorrect. But they promote these incorrect thoughts over and over, year after year, marriage, all this stuff. They promote it. So what we're saying is, we're not telling people to get divorced, get out of a marriage. If you married, we're saying stay there. But try to just deal with whatever come down. Don't be quick to just let it go. If you marry, at least try to stay married. You see, but that's hard to do, because what we find out that black females really can't deal with the males, when they go to a marriage and they see how he really is and everything. We don't take our time to get to know each other. That's the thing that we need to do. We need to be on the telephone just like I was with these white men. I did not see them. I just talked to them over the telephone, asking them a lot of questions. So that's what the males and the females should do. Black males and females. One thing we can do is sit on the telephone asking a lot of questions. I mean, sit down and ask a lot of questions. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be honest. Everybody's not going to be. But at least we don't want to be in bed with black males too quick either. We want to ask a lot of questions and see what we're dealing with. See, I tell everybody that. Just don't jump in the bed. Just ask questions. Get on the phone and talk. Ask a lot of questions so that we can see what we're dealing with. But most of the time, we're going to be dissatisfied. That's what's going to happen. We're going to be dissatisfied after we learn and find out. But then if we want to deal with it, find out what you can deal with. Deal with what you can deal with. I'm talking to the females now, on your terms. You see what I'm saying? Because the female's the one that got the gift. But first, you got to get out of bed with white men, too. And, of course, I'm not saying that black males is the same way. You know, but I understand that they have been programmed, and understanding that black males have been programmed to desire white women is a start. But we've been programmed. It's not his fault. It's part of the system. So they drove a wedge between the black males and females a long time ago. And they keep that wedge going year after year after year because they in the elementary schools talking and telling stuff, and, you know. So it's a lot we can do, but we can start off with dealing with the truth and saying I'm not going to, stop watching soap operas. Because that's a lot of fantasies, a lot of lies cause a lot of chaos. Where's truth to give us peace. Yes.
Can you kind of go back and touch on that? Because I think that's another point that's very important. I don't think it's very popular amongst victims of racism, but the fact that as long as white supremacy exists, you more than likely are going to be very disappointed with your potential mate if it's a non-white person, a subject of racism, white supremacy. Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, see, the black females, we're looking for men, and we expect the black males to be men, and then likewise with the males. They're looking for women, and they expect the black female to be a woman who can handle disappointments. Now, that's important because we're going to get disappointed based on our fantasy. We're going to get disappointed, but what happens is we can't handle it. We take off, or we just let it go. After a while, we see that we can't handle it, and we split up, okay, because we can't deal with it after we learn. Now, that's why I try to get you to, we ask questions ahead of time so you can kind of know where you're headed with the person, okay? But when you do find out you find out that we probably just going to be separate. We're not going to be in marriages and stuff like that, And I'm not saying it's, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but that's if we want to deal with reality. We are not men and women. We are subject. Men and women cannot be subject to racism. If we were men and women, we could not be subject to racism. But we are subject to racism, so we are not men and women. See, as they say, the fathers have their boys subject to them. Okay. But, we can do the best we can. I'm not saying break up the marriage. I'm just saying things are not going to go right all the time. Can you handle it? If you can't handle it, you have to go. You have to, But if you get out the fantasy, you might be able to handle it. But most of the time, like I said, the females usually can't put up with it, and they just, break on up the guy, or break the marriage off, or vice versa. The male can't handle it or whatever. He can't handle the fantasy that she's in, So we just trying to say, if you're going to get married, we trying to stay together. Through thick and thin, try to stay together. That's what we're trying to say, if you're going to go that route. At least stick with it. My mother and father, was married for maybe about 30, 40 years. My mother stuck with it. I mean, but it wasn't a roller coaster ride. My father had children, had a son, out of marriage. So, but she dealt with it. She just dealt with it. She didn't, break the family up and all that, but from a different time era. Nowadays, the women are not like my mom, that want to put up with that.
Just so I can be clear, basically what you're saying, if you are a victim of racism, non-white person, long as this system exists, you should just be prepared. If you're looking for any sort of long-term partnership, commitment, male-female sort of thing, you should just expect it's going to be a very bumpy ride, probably lots of disappointments, probably going to fall way short of what you would like it to be. Is that the gist of what you're saying?
That's correct. Yeah, it's going to fall short. Okay. It's definitely going to fall short. It fell short for me, and it's going to fall short because it's not. It's rooted in racism. Again, we can't solve it until we get to the root of the problem, and I had to find that out. Many things I was trying, but I had to get to the root of the problem. You can't really work it out until you get to the root of it, and at the root of it is the racist man, the racist white man and woman. See, at the beginning, the black males are not taught to desire black females from the beginning. Okay, so that's some, now as we grow older and get older, things start to look better. We start to change a little more. Sometimes it takes time, time at looking at things over and over. But this doesn't mean that we're going to have harmonious relationships. Because I said in the book, I think I talked about, with the male's going to be into a lot of different things, but they're not going to be only into only her. He's gonna be into cars, drugs, alcohol. I mean, anything, but he's not going to be into the female like the female is expecting. She's expecting him to be committed to her and only her. That's why she gets married. She believes she got this man that's going to be committed to her and only her. Okay, and if we want to set house, they teach us to play house. As a little girl, we get our baby dolls, we get our easy bake ovens and stuff like that. People was buying that for Christmas for people, baby dolls and easy bake ovens. I'm not saying anything is wrong with it, but we want to set up house or play house. It sounds funny, but we want to play house, see? And we're looking for that committed man or that committed male. But in reality, we say to ourselves, my husband, which is a no-no. Because, see, that's another thing that both males and females walk away with under white supremacy. We think that the male belongs to us. Likewise, the male thinks that the female belongs to him. This is why we say, my wife, my husband. That's a term that we shouldn't use, my wife, because nobody belongs to anybody. Racism, we belong to the racists. Really, if you want to look at it, we belong to them, but we don't belong to each other. You see, so that's another thing that I found that, we be saying my husband, my wife. We got this notion that these, they belong to us. We belong to each other, and we really don't. We show each other that every day, that we don't belong to each other. The males show that when they go out. And I'm not saying every male go out, but some of the males that do, they show you every day that you belong to them. that he don't belong to her. See what I'm saying? You know.
One of our listeners, they said it sounds like you're really talking bad about marriage under these conditions. It sounds as if you're speaking against marriage. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, under white supremacy. We got to understand what they are under white supremacy. We are carrying their values. We don't have our own values, so we got their values. That is, the man will be able to provide for his family. Okay? He have enough money to provide for her and his offspring. I'm not saying that there's not males who are not able to do that, but we still got to understand the source, what the source is. See, the money don't have our face on it, and the wages are already determined. The wages that we get, even if we play in football, is already determined. Some males who play football and do everything, they are able to provide for the female and her offsprings. Okay? My father was a good provider. When he passed, that's what what's one of the things that he said in the at the funeral, that he was a good provider. So we're not saying, but we're just understanding the root of everything. The wages are already determined. Okay? We got to accept what we get, what they say that we're going to get to work this particular job. We got to come in at 9 to 5, whatever time. Everything is already set up for us. The racists do provide ways for their victims to survive. The racists, they find ways, they got ways for us to survive. But to be thinking that, that we men and women and that my husband, sometimes it takes two people. Normally, we find out that it takes, in the black family, it takes the mother and the father got to work in order to provide for the family. So it's different right there. And I'm not saying that white families are not like that. But it's all under white supremacy. It's still their system, what they set up. It's not what we set up. We just fall into it, you see, and try to do the best we can.
Makes sense.
Yes, we do the best we can.
What is your view? Because I think this is important as well. There was a victim. She shared an incident where a white man, racist, assaulted a black female. She was out just videotaping what these white people were doing. And he assaulted her, called her a nigger, yelled at her, all the typical trifling, terroristic behavior. And I think she was, at least from what I saw in the video, she was by herself. She wasn't with the group or anything. She was just out with her, the phone and her camera doing the video recording. And we were just talking about black males attempting to protect under these conditions. And I was saying it's difficult because I see lots of evidence that black males cannot protect themselves, much less anybody else, under the system of white supremacy. Right.
They can't protect. We are not. That's why I'm saying men and women, and I had said this before, men and women are able to protect their offsprings and themselves. I said white women know how to get a black male or any male to do. She know how to get justice from him, which is we don't. We got to sit there and put two and two together, find the words. By that time, it's all over with. We can't get him to pay. We can't get the white man to pay. Okay? So, yes, black males are not able to protect us, nor is he able to protect the offsprings. Right now, the way we are, the female's not even able to protect her offsprings. So this is make us, we are not men and women. Men and women can protect their offsprings by feeding them the right information and stuff, So, but no, we're not in that position. We are victims of racism. All right, so we have a lot to think about, like I said, but the main thing is how we're going to look at problems that we have. And I want us to, to look at a problem from its root source. And because we try to fix these relationships, but we're not looking at the root source of it. And that's what I was doing, trying to fix it and everything. And and I couldn't fix it because I wasn't looking at the root source. Okay, so if you look at the root source, you know, you figure that you can't really do nothing, or you can't really repair it, okay, until you look at racism, white supremacy. But we can start by saying we're not going to deal in fantasies. We're not going to watch the soap operas or whatever where we get these, you know, fantasies from. We're not going to deal with that because, you know, what didn't happen when we was in elementary school. But the main thing, too, is to start asking questions. Why the relationship is not working? Start asking questions. And then that'll lead you to a lot of stuff when we start asking questions. So we should begin to really ask questions about any kind of problem we have. We should solve our problems and not run away from them. And then we should, you know, ask questions. That'll lead you to a lot of different places to find the answer. And that's what I had to do. I had to ask questions. Why do white people don't like us? Why my relationship is not working? So when I started asking them questions, it led me to a lot of different places. And then the book was developed because, you know, because I was busy trying to figure out why we got these problems. I can't stand a lot of problems, so this is what made me start researching and trying to solve them because I like to solve problems, and I don't like having them. So that's what made me really get into writing a book. But I tell you, I didn't want to write it because I wanted me a male.
Again, joining us live, author of Pieces of a Puzzle, Miss Reneathia Tate. That protection aspect, and again, I think a lot of this stuff, it is not popular. It is not going to make you feel good. It is nothing that people are going to jump up and down and shout about and say, amen, we're impotent, we're weak, we're pitiful under a system of white supremacy. But unfortunately, I think this is true. This is all what racism, white supremacy is designed to produce. Weak people, weak-minded people who are not men and women, who are children, who function like children regardless of age. I just reiterating some of the people they were questioning the importance for anybody, if you're a black male, you're a black female under racism, white supremacy, really sitting down and thinking. If you want that relationship, you want that attempted marriage, because you were saying no to marriage, but there are people who are saying that they're not having children unless they have some sort of partnership, long-term partnership with a black male or black female. And you saying, hey, not only asking questions of this person and really getting to know this person well, but also asking questions of yourself. What is it that I am prepared to deal with? Am I prepared to stick this out if this person has an affair? Am I prepared to stick this out if this person can't find a job for 5 years? Am I prepared to stick this out if we're out somewhere and a white man spits on me and he's not able to protect me in the manner that, you know, I want him to? Am I going to stick? I mean, thinking this out in advance. What is it that you can tolerate? And being honest with yourself before you even get started on all that. Just the importance of that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I just think that, you know, when you have children, especially when you have children, if you're getting married and you got children, you want to stay together because of the children. That's what my mom did. She stayed together because of us. You know, and then, but like I said, that was a different era. She's come from a different era now. Nowadays, we don't do that, you know. But I'm saying that it's more. I think some of the old ways could be the better ways if we can, but if we can handle it. Like I said, most of the time we can't, but if we can, for the sake of the children, we should try to stick together if we are attempting marriage. For those that are attempting marriage, should at least try to stay together, particularly if they have children and everything. But I'm not going to say it's going to be but I'm not going to tell you it's going to be an easy road. It's going to be a rough road. And I already seen a lot of outcomes. The divorce rate is very high, you know, because people just find out they can do it better by themselves or whatever. But either way, there's nothing really wrong with it, you know. But if you have children, I say try to stay together, you know.
Right on. I think another important aspect. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll just get. What point did you want me to expand on again?
Just the
I don't know if I expanded on your point.
You did, but just the importance of just setting those guidelines out in front for yourself and your partner about what things you can tolerate, what things you can't. Understanding that it's not going to be what you want, but really being honest about what things you'll have the patience to deal with. And if it's stuff that you know you don't have the patience to deal with, if you know that an affair is something that you're just not going to be able to sustain, then making that known to yourself and your partner before you get involved. If you have an affair, that's probably going to be a wrap for us. If you put your hands on me, that's probably going to be a wrap for us. Just making that very clear from day one, things you can tolerate, things you can't, and understand that unfortunately, it's very likely, even if you make that known, it is very likely that those things probably will happen anyway.
Right. Yeah, our situations that once it's over, we may be single. We may not be in those relationships or whatever, but we can still act civil for the children's sake. We can be civil to one another. We can do a partnership. We don't have relationships under white supremacy. What we have is arrangements. Black males and females have arrangements that often change every time, you see. But a relationship means that we got some kind of harmony there, and there's no harmony. When you look up relationship and we look up the words in the dictionary, you see there means some kind of harmony is there, harmonious. And we don't have that. And we don't have it because racism, white supremacy exists. Okay? So he's out of a job. Back in the slavery days, the lady had to go get them. She would, the black female would go have to talk to the white man to get her husband working. You see? So in some cases.
Maybe have sex with that white man.
She would have to go get the job for him. Right. So that was a lot to deal with. So, but the thing about it is, black males have a hard time with that I'm a man thing. And if black males, start looking at the truth of it, that can be some added pressure off of them. See, a lot of baggage we carry around because we believe that we are men and women. We carry a lot of baggage that we're not supposed to be carrying. And that's a problem, too. We carry a lot of baggage that we're supposed to unload that baggage. I don't believe carrying baggage on me. So I need to unload some of that baggage of being a man, baggage of being a woman and all that. That's baggage. Like I said, he expects you to handle disappointments because you're going to be disappointed. Black females going to be disappointed. Because I was disappointed. We're going to be disappointed. And we're going to ask ourselves, can I do it? We're going to do that, okay? Because we're going to be disappointed and dissatisfied. So, but this don't mean that we're not. And I'm just saying we got to quit playing with the fact that we got relationships. We got arrangements. We don't have relationships. We got to quit playing. We don't have marriages. We still got an arrangement. Even if we're married to a white man, that's nothing but a slave and master arrangement. If we're married to a white person, same thing. You can't get married there. That's a master and slave arrangement. So yes, these are bitter pills to swallow, but we'll make it. We've been making it. We can deal with truth and move on and, let go of some of that baggage and move on with our lives. We can do it. But we got to get out of this fantasy and stop producing, It's a fantasy with Santa Claus. All this fantasy, nothing but lies, So just a bunch of lies that we should be tired of. And say, look, I want some peace. The only way we're going to get peace is if we get some truth. The truth will also give us therapy because we all need therapy too. We need some mental therapy, so truth will give us some therapy. It will be therapeutic for us. like I said, we're carrying a lot of baggage. If we use truth and say, wait a minute, this ain't this ain't this, I'm that, then we can unload some of that baggage, and then that way we can get some peace. And that's what we want. We want peace.
I agree with that. Truth is therapeutic. Amen.
Yes, it's very therapeutic.
I want to check in, see if Justice has some questions. I see listeners have hands as well. I'll get you guys down the road.
Okay.
The number, I'll give it out real quick so people can call in the meantime. The number to dial is 760-569-7676. And the code is 564-943#. Press *6 if you have questions. The number one more time is 760-569-7676. And the code is 564-943#. Press *6 if you have questions. *6 if you have questions. Our co-host Justice, if you have some questions, your line should be open.
Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Let me fix this here, my computer. Okay, all right. Greetings, Miss Tate.
Yes.
Hello. Do you think that when a black person, black people are together, that there is more conflict than with white male and black female?
And it's more conflict with a black male and female versus a black female with a white man? Is that what you're saying?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Well, conflict. Well, you're in a master, when you're with the white man, you're in a master and slave type arrangement. So it doesn't matter. What I understood, because I didn't do the research on the marriages between black people and white people. I didn't do research, but in the process of doing research, I did come across some things where they talked about the black woman. Basically, she doesn't talk. She doesn't do too much. She don't place too many demands on her white husband like she'd do the black man. She don't place too many demands on him. Okay? So their relationship, I'm not saying that you're going to have harmony with a white man either. You just harmony, it's not there. White men and women don't really, they have harmony on one area. That's the suppression of black people. That's where they come together at. They get divorced too, you see, and they have problems in their relationship also, okay? But the one thing they agree on is that white supremacy should exist. That's the one thing. But see, what can we agree on? What can we agree on? One thing that we can agree on with our black males. You see what I'm saying? So my understanding of what happens with that relationship is the black female usually don't place no demands. He's usually more freer. The white man is usually more freer with the black woman than he is with the white woman. He's free to do everything or anything because, again, we are like girls married to men. So we don't, so we act totally different when it comes to a man. Okay? So that's what I understand. Like I said, I didn't do it in research, but in researching stay on this subject matter, I did run into things, and and that's one of the things I ran into. Black females don't place no demands on white men when they marry. So, but there's still not going to be harmony because white men don't have harmony with white women, not in all areas, but they do have harmony in one area. They're in charge, and they will come together. for the sake of white supremacy. That's like their religion. Okay?
Yes, I agree. What steps do you think it will take for non-white people to completely avoid sexual relationships with white people?
Well, there's a book there that gives you 15 black females. I have a book that gives you 15 black females that's in that book. Not all of them had sex, but you can find, but it's a mirror. This is a representative sample. Okay? It's like a mirror. Well, one of those stories might affect you. Okay? One of them stories from the black females might affect you. Okay? Because you may see yourself there, see yourself in that kind of situation. The things we can do is read and learn. Look at the other females, what happened in their relationships with them, and ain't nothing going to change. It's the same program. White supremacy still exists. So black people, black females, still not talking about it. But it's still going on. I'm the only one that's talking about it. Okay? I'm the only black female out here talking about what white men are doing in that bedroom with other black females, okay? So I'm the only one, so it's, so we have to start by reading and looking at other people's examples of what they went through or whatever. Don't play with it, because your mind will get messed up, but you can refrain from it, because you got black males, you got other non-white males. So white men are not the only men out here, okay? We got other non-white males that we can, if we don't want to be with a black male, we got other non-white males that we can be with.
What do you do around white males who are directly practicing racism by sexually harassing you?
Well, you can start by asking him questions, like I did. But like I said, I was over the phone, you see. So you can start by asking questions. Now that should run them away, because they don't like us when we ask questions. They do not like black people asking questions, because they know we're trying to figure out stuff, see. So that's what we're supposed to be doing, asking a whole lot of questions and writing stuff down. Like I was over that phone with them white men. They came after me. I didn't come after them. They came after me. So since they came after me, I said, well, okay, I'm going to interview you. I'm going to ask y'all a lot of questions. But when I speak to you, I'm not going to use that soft communications. I'm going to be very direct. I'm going to use hard communication, very direct with my questions. I asked them, did racism exist? And they told me the truth. See, they'll tell you the truth. They will tell you the truth if we want it, but they found out that black people don't want to hear the truth. That's what they found out. But they will tell you the truth if you're a black person that want to hear it. But they found out to their advantage that black people just don't want to hear the truth. So they keep this mess going, because they know black people don't want to hear it. Yeah, that's what happened to me when I was writing a book, and a lot of girlfriends of mine didn't want to hear it. You see, we didn't want to hear the truth. We want a bunch of lies, you see, and we can't keep going like that, because lies causes chaos and confusion. So white people will tell you the truth if you talk to them. Ask them questions. You can ask him, why is he sexually harassing you? Or ask him, is this considered sexual harassment? And then he might get on, might move on. You see what I'm saying? Just ask questions.
If you don't mind me asking, what were some other questions you asked the white males over the phone? Well, I asked them, have they ever been in a relationship with women? I asked them about oral to find out whether, what they like, what they do in the bedroom. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the bedroom. So I asked them about oral sex. And remember, these guys wanted to get with me, so a lot of stuff they were saying, they wanted to come in my favor. They want to make sure it sounds good for me to, be in their favor. So they talked about the white women being boring in bed and things like that, because they thought I wanted to hear that, you see. And that's why they want to play with us, because we're not boring in bed. And anything to make your ego, see. It's an ego-building enterprise. So anytime they can boost your ego, they're going to be saying all kind of stuff like that. When it comes to, I like black women better than white women are boring. You see what I'm saying? Things like that. Anything to get that, to get you, to win you over. So they was basically saying things like that. And, of course, I dealt a lot into the sex, the different kinds of sex, and I asked them about racism. And I asked them about, a lot of little things. I just asked them about, but I had a code before I got on that phone with them. So I knew what kind of questions. So I say, if you get on, read the book, then get help. The book should help you come up with questions. You can look at some of the questions I asked, but then you got, like I said, you got the females there, the black females, who will basically let you know what their experience was like. And if you ever been a white man, you like I said, you'll probably see one of those stories going to match. You're going to be a mirror for you.
Did any of the white males say why they didn't like white females? And only
well, yeah, they say that she was boring in bed. They said that she was boring in bed. Now, they got a word that I looked at that they use a lot, kinky sex and straight sex. Kinky hair and straight hair, okay? So they get involved, when they're having sex with white women, they get involved in straight sex. Now, when they're having sex with black people, males and females, they want to do that kinky stuff. And they said, we got kinky hair, so we're going to have kinky sex with the black people, you see. And then, when we get with the white people, we in the business of producing white offspring. When we want to play, we go play with black people, you see. Okay, but we in the business of producing black offspring. Now, they do have babies with black people, but that's not a lot, okay. They don't do that a lot. Because, see, you can see in the book, you're going to see a lot of females didn't even have sex. They didn't want to, put their penis in that black, female, see. A lot of them didn't even have sex, but it's the fact that they had access to the black female. They could get her to do things or whatever. They had access to her. But a lot of them just put you on, they just did a lot of, the number one sex that they wanted to have with black women was, or black females, is oral sex. That's the number one sex that they had with black people or with black women, is oral sex. Now, it's sex, but, you can't get no baby doing that, you see. You can't get no little mixed baby with doing that. So they're not necessarily trying to have straight sex with black females, you see. They want kinky sex.
Yep. How do you think white supremacy is going to be replaced with justice?
Well, that's where we come in at. We're going to stop dealing with fantasies. And we're going to get out the bed with white people. Okay? They are the ones that got to produce justice. We can't produce justice. We have to ask them to produce justice. And so far, but see, they got to end white supremacy in order to produce justice. It can't be anything called white supremacy or black supremacy if you have a society that justice is practiced. Truth and justice means peace. White people don't want peace. But like I said, it's all according to what we gonna do. What we gonna do. In other words, the black people, come away from all these different things that they got us running around for, like coming away from these holidays, coming away from a lot of stuff that they got us involved in, But you can't have justice and white supremacy too. White supremacy have to end. And they are the ones who have to end white supremacy and then produce, put justice in its place. But they got to end white supremacy first. Well, we don't have to answer to them, you see.
I suspect you don't celebrate Christmas, but I just wanted to know if you do or not, or
Not really. No, not really. I may have something to eat, but that's it. I don't go out there running around and, because see, that's, even the fantasies, they give us lies about Santa Claus even at an early age. And so how we going to, now then, the kids are stuck on that. You see, the kids get stuck on Santa Claus and stuff like that. See, so those are examples of the lies that we are fed as children. That's just one, but it's many of them that they feed us in the elementary school. Okay, that just when you start getting older, you start saying this stuff ain't panning out. It just don't pan out. It don't hold. See, lies and things that are fantasies don't hold up long. So you're going to end up dealing with reality anyway. So I'm saying deal with reality. Why not deal with it now instead of waiting for it to come? Because when it comes on you, depending on how far gone you are in the fantasy, it's going to hurt. The truth hurts. And this is why black people don't want to hear, because it hurts, because we're so locked up in the fantasy that it will hurt you. But if we start slowly coming on out of that, it's going to give you peace. But we so locked up in lies and fantasies that have been fed to us as children, that it's hard to get out of that stuff. But reality sets in anyway. Reality is coming around the corner. Reality is coming, and then we won't be able to deal with it because we so far gone in the fantasies. So I'm saying, come out the fantasies, deal with truth. And mainly, we understand that they programmed us in school, elementary school, but the programming does, after elementary, takes place at TV. The programming takes place on that television. You see, they got some kind of drama going on in those soap operas. It's always about that's why they call them some kind of opera, drama. There's a lot of drama going on, see.
Do you do any of the presents in the tree and that sort of stuff, or?
What did you say?
Do you do any of the presents or tree with the lights and No,
okay. Not none of that.
Okay.
I haven't celebrated Christmas in a long time.
Oh, wow.
And then because then they get these records that come on and start talking about Christmas ain't Christmas without the one you love. You lonely on these songs and stuff like that. I'm not saying they're not good songs, but imagine if I was out there and I had this happen to me when I was younger. I didn't have a friend. I was by myself. That put me in a depression. I was by myself. I didn't have nobody to bring New Year's in with, or nobody to go out with on New Year's Day. And that stuff didn't do nothing but bring in depression. I heard these Christmas songs and I got depressed. You see? Because everything is not going to, reality is you're not going to be with, you may not be with somebody for the holiday. I used to have a boyfriend for the holiday. You see? So a lot of stuff, we get into these fantasies, and then when they crush us, when we don't have it, because reality sets in. You see, and then we get crushed and depressed. So just live each day. This is what I always say. Just live each day just like a day. Just live each day, one day at a time, and live it like a regular day. But don't get caught up all into this, because you might not have you might be missing some things down the line, you see. So you just live each day, just like you live Monday through Friday. So that's what I do. I live each day one day at a time, but I live it each like a regular old day. I don't get caught up in all that. Because when I was young, I did, see. Then I got caught up and then I didn't do nothing but get disappointed, hurt, depressed, because I didn't have the things I thought I should have. And then it's just a mess. It's just more stressful. They always say that, this time of year is stressful. Now, how can they know that they know that? Because they dealing with fantasies and stuff. They know that this time of the year can be stressful for some people, see? You're trying to make people's dreams come true and all that, and, just a mess. Just a mess. I think my mom lost some toys one time. She was trying to bring us something home from Christmas, and she lost some toys on the bus. So imagine how she felt when she came home and then she seen her kids and she couldn't give us nothing. You see what I'm saying? It's just a more headache than to be running around here to see if we're going to shop and everything, you see. The meaning of it is gone anyway, They just make it a shopping day. You go spend money. Then people be in debt. It's just a mess.
Do you think holidays and sexual relationships with white people relate?
Do I think what now?
Do you think holidays and sexual relationships with white people relate?
Do they relate? Holidays. I'm not too sure. Do they relate to each other? Well, everything is related under white supremacy. But I'm not too sure that relates, but everything is related under white supremacy. One after another, one is related to the other. Yeah, I think I can match it up. Well, we are taught, lies. If you talk about the holidays and Santa Claus and the lies we're told, in the bedroom they lie. Lies are being told there too. Deceit. More, I use the term deceit because that's a skillful lie. So in terms of lying, they lying to us, like I said before earlier, white people will tell you the truth if you ask them for it. But they know that black people can't handle the truth, so they got that to their advantage. They use that to their advantage. Because we like children. We can't, be crushed if we hear the truth and everything. Just like, you crush your little kid if you tell them Santa Claus don't exist. So that's the fragileness that we are. We fragile.
I do want to say, before I get back to Gus, is that on Christmas, people used to say to me that it's about the presents, it's about the birth of Jesus Christ. And I didn't really understand it. I was like, well, okay, but I mean, I'll listen to it, but I was more confused at the time, so I was more so trying to get the presents and stuff. But I just wanted to mention that.
They got it twisted from the, it's supposed to be a spiritual day, and then they got it twisted into a shopping day. So everything is like twisted. They keep stuff twisted, and you got to sit there and try to figure it out, But that's how they operate white supremacy, keeping a whole bunch of lies. That's how they operate. And when you ask them questions, and they know they have to tell you the truth, they also know that their time is blowing up. When they realize they got to speak the truth to their victims, because see, they got their victims believing a whole bunch of stuff that's not true. So they got us believing a whole bunch of stuff that's not true. So, but they know but they will will tell you the truth. But like I said before, you talk to him. I say talk to him before you go to bed with him, and to abstain. And what you do is have something, have a guideline. See, I had a guideline, and I had the code book for victims of racism, white supremacy. I had a book that I read before I talked to white men on the phone, so I knew what to expect. Okay, so you need a book first to see what so you can have something to measure it by. Okay, but if you want to talk to them, you can see what I have in the book, because I talked to them and I wrote, and everything is written out, questions and answers. But yeah, you talk to them first, and they will tell you the truth. But like I said, they know black people don't want to hear it. So that's sad. That's something that's bad on us. We got to come out of the fantasy.
Yep. Questions, very important. Gus, go. Yeah, Gus, go ahead.
Context of white supremacy. The number to dial is 760-569-7676, and the code is 564-943#. Press *6. If you have questions you would like to ask, *6. If you have questions, someone mailed this in. I'm going to get the folks who called as well, but this person mailed this in way early in the program, like as soon as we got rolling. This person asked, I have found that many black females hate black males, some due to past abuse and some for no reason at all. This is true even of black females who will be calling in to this program. Can black males ally with these females, or is it a lost cause? That is their question.
Okay. Black females hating black males. Those black females don't understand racism, white supremacy. Now, if they understood racism, white supremacy, black males are victims too. Okay, it's no way around that. And if she hate him, that's because she got a definition of a relationship that's not coinciding with his definition. Okay. Then if we do hate him, what's going to happen? You hate the black male, then you run to the white man, then you get abused. Then after you get abused, you run back to the black male and realize that's basically all you have. So that's the role for black females. We don't have that many choices. We got limited choices. I'm not telling black females to stay with black males who are abusive and all that stuff. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we got these high expectations. We got to lower our expectations. Okay? We got these high expectations, and then when they don't deliver up to the expectation, see, white men know that. The racist white men know that in advance. That they already know that they're going to be displeased with that black male. He already know that. So he's waiting. He's waiting for you to run his way, because he's not forcing black females in the bed with him. Okay? So, but he knows she's going to be disappointed. So he's just waiting. Okay? Because the black males are set up like that for her to be disappointed. Okay? So then when she get with him, she's going to be raped or robbed. Either raped or robbed. Or same thing as doing something that she going to later regret and feel ashamed of. And she ain't going to talk to nobody because she done something so disgusting. And then she not going to talk. And that's how they keep this racism thing going with black people. She's not going to talk after that. So we don't have that many choices. We got a limited number of choices. I'm talking about black females. We got a limited number of choices.
I guess to the male's question about is it a lost cause or the best way to ally if you feel like there's some conflict or there's some hostility directed at black males, or even vice versa, if it's black females and they're feeling there's hostility from black males. Do you have any recommendations on how to try to work around that as best you can?
Well, like I said, the hostility is because of the definitions. We don't have time. We need to be reading a whole lot. Not just my book, a lot of books. We need to be reading. We need to focus some time and energy on, if there's a problem, how to solve the problem. You know, and if you got a problem with a black male, I'm not saying you're not going to be, you got to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to solve it. Either, it's a couple ways. Either you don't deal with them no more, or you see if you can deal with them. But before black females deal with anybody, we need to be on the phone asking white men questions, and we need to be asking black males questions. That'll break up all this. On that phone asking questions, and we need to have something, a code book. We need a reference book so that we can know how to ask the questions. So we need to read, just like, you know, I like to breed dogs and stuff, you know, but before I did it, I had to read about it first. So that's what we need. Before you tackle any subject matter, we have to read about it. And then we can sit down, you know, and then ask the questions that we're supposed to ask. But if you ask white people questions, they get to running. See, it's easy to get rid of them. You can ask them questions, and they get to running. Okay, because they don't want us to know nothing. Particularly how they operate white supremacy. They didn't let us know. We had to figure that out on our own. They wasn't telling us nothing. But we're pretty sure we got it now. And I'm talking about the different people who wrote about racism and stuff, you know. We're pretty sure we got it now, you know, on how they operate this thing. So black males and females, I mean, you know, the code tell us that if we want a less conflict would be less contact. Sometimes you have to break off with the black male for a little while and then come back to him. You know what I mean? You might have to break up with him for a little while, you know, and then come back. If he's, you know, have time to look at it. So we all need that, you know, time alone stuff. And if the focus is not so much on the black male-female thing, if we focus our attention on understanding racism, we might wind up finding a black person, a black male or female that's got the same interest. You know, but we need to first, because that's how white people keep their harmony going. They, like I said, they agree that white supremacy should exist and is going to continue to exist. They agree on that.
Right on. I will hit the phone lines, take questions from folks who dialed in. Praz, should be Praz. Your line should be open. Did you have a question for Ms. Tate?
Yes, I do. Greetings, Ms. Tate. Greetings, Gus, Justice, and the callers. In addition to asking questions and setting boundaries, you know, I was wondering what I can do as a black male to pursue constructive relationships with black females and keep the emphasis on eliminating the system of racism, white supremacy, rather than the fantasy. What I found in my experience is that most non-whites are generally obsessed with the 8th area of people activity. And, you know, according to the code book, this is the second most powerful area. But when I try to present to them that the first most powerful area is white supremacy, I get a lot of disappointment and disinterest. And that was
Yeah, because we see it as so awesome. We see it as a big awesome thing, you know, an awesome force. But if you look at it, you know, it's awesome, but there's certain little cracks in there, you know. As a black male, you can start by telling the females the truth, and, you know, you can tell them the truth about things, how you feel. Tell them, you know, just tell them the truth. And, you know, and you stand by it. Say, I'm going to tell you the truth. Do you want to hear the truth? Give them a chance to opt out, you know, because they might say, no, I don't want to hear it, you see. But as a black male, you can start by telling the females the truth. Okay? And ask questions for her to see what her fantasies are. Okay. And, of course, you have to read. Because I tell you where the fantasies, where she's fantasizing at. You see, where the fantasy's coming in at, on her definition of marriage and relationship. Okay. She wants somebody committed to her and only her. And I had said in the book that males going to be into a lot of things. They want to go on these adventures. But they're not going to be into only her and only her. They might be into their cars. It doesn't mean you're going to be with other women. I didn't say that. I said he's going to be on these adventures. He might be into a lot of cars. Okay, so you can start by telling her the truth. Make sure you tell the truth on everything. Tell it all so that she can see what she's dealing with. Now, but the males might not want to tell the truth all the time. Because they say, well, if I tell the truth, I'm not going to be able to get no woman. But that's just the opposite, you know. Usually the people, after we start beginning to talk the truth out, then we start appreciating you more for telling us the truth. Because we like to be forewarned in some cases. Want to know what we're getting into. So I say the questions got to take place between black people and black males and females, and along with white people. Because they're going to come to you like they came to me. See, like the white world, I'm talking about the males came to me. And I got them over that telephone, and I started asking questions about racism. You see? Now, if I didn't have the code book, I wouldn't have been asking no questions about no racism. So how did racism, what's your objective here? Well, in other words, I asked the white man, what was their objective for calling me and wanting to be with me? What's their overall objective? Now, I asked that in the book. What you got planned? What's going on? Why you want to be with me? You see, so many words, you know. And then they lied, you know. We just want to have a monogamous relationship, and you got to know how to feed into, you know. You got to know how they have a code. White people have a code, and they speak in a code. Okay. And the code that they have helps them to maintain lies and fantasies. That's what their code is. It helps them to maintain things that's not true. So you know that automatically going in, that they're not going to tell you the truth, you know. I mean, earlier I said they will tell you the truth, but you got to expect that they won't, see. Hello?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Tate.
All right, thank you.
One of the listeners, although I guess for resources, if you're looking for questions, I think counter-racism.com, Mr. Edward Williams' site, they have a link where there are hundreds of questions, example questions that you can ask that people have thought of. The sex area generates a lot of interest generally, where people have submitted their questions that they think are important. I know I've heard Mr. Fuller talk about this, and he said, you know, you can just sit and think. What are things that you want to know? What are things that are of interest to you? What is it that you want to know about somebody before you decide that you want to get in bed with this person, or before you want to be involved in some sort of long-range commitment? What are things that you would like to know? Do you have any sample questions that you think non-white people should be asking a potential partner?
Well, that one question that I ask, when you talk to white people, you want to know what their objectives are. And just and write down what they say. Okay? Write it down, and then look at it. You write it down, you look at it, and look at all the words. I said, be careful with the words, because they play on the words. So you got to know how to talk to them, because they play on these words. That's why I say you keep them over the phone, so that you won't be in a vulnerable position, and then you just ask questions. What is your objective? What do you feel about racism, white supremacy? How can we eliminate that? How can it be eliminated? And I just listen to what they said and just write it down. You can't take away what they say, and then you see if it makes sense. Because some of it then don't even make sense, because I was able to look at every word that they use. I looked at every word. That's why I say write it down, so you can see every word. But before you start dealing with white men, you got to do some reading first. You see, got to do a lot of reading, before you start, messing with that subject. You got to read so you know what to expect. But those are some of the questions, your objectives you want to know about racism, because that's the number one thing that we're talking here, And you want to use words like white supremacy. You don't want to use racism by itself, because then they get you caught up. If you use racism by itself, they're going to have you being a racist. They're going to say the black person is racist. So they play on words. That's why they said you got to keep those two words together. Or you can use white supremacy a lot. But white supremacy is the system, and they practice racism. And one way they practice racism is in their bedroom with black females. And it would be the young black females that's ignorant and don't know nothing. And the black males, too, for white women. They practice racism against the males, too. But it's the young people that they go after, because they don't know nothing. And that's how they keep it going, by hitting the young people that don't know nothing and ain't heard nothing. So we need to do, like I said, we need to be studying more, do a lot more studying and learning how they operate the system. The more we come familiar with that, the more we can see other things that we can do. But we have to come familiar with it first. That's why I say, speak the truth. Be truthful with each other, because they got us in a whole bunch of lies, and that's how they're keeping this thing going.
Great stuff. Let's see, the person who dialed in, Lashes, your line should be open if you had a question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. I have a question. You mentioned earlier about how your mother's generation used to do things as far as the protocol for men and women within the marriage. And you said that we need to incorporate some of the old ways of doing things. So I want to know, can you list those protocols for women and men from back then that can be used today with some new...
Yeah, well, I mean, my father wasn't, I used him. My father wasn't a saint. He had extramarital affairs going on, you see. But my mom stayed with him. But she did it for the sake of the kids, because that's why I had said if you have kids. And then sooner or later things change, but some people just can't handle that. You got to be able to handle things like that. My mom stayed together. She couldn't handle it. It was hard on her, too, but she said she prioritized stuff and said she's going to stay together for the kids. But we got a different generation now. Some people just can't tolerate that, so I can't say that we can... I can't say that we can use what she did. We want to try, But the more we deal with reality and see what we're getting into, we can take it and we'll say, well, I don't think I can handle that. I'm not going to get involved with that. You want that opportunity to say, I'm not going to get involved with it before you get into it. So that's what I noticed that the females want. They want the opportunity to opt out. Okay? So, but you find out by asking questions. So I can't recommend that we do the old. I mean, I did say we should incorporate some of the old things, but you have to kind of know what you can handle. My mother was able to handle that, but it wasn't easy. She cried and everything, and it wasn't easy. But she picked her children first, and then my father, because they grew old together, he turned, he came on in, with that. It stopped. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not saying she didn't suffer a lot of hurt, but she was just able to handle it. Okay? But not every female going to be able to handle it. But the more she come out of her fantasy and see what she really dealing with here, we on two different tracks, the male and the female. Males like to go on adventures. It might be with a car. It doesn't have to be sex. But he's not going to be into us. If we know those things, that's the start.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Let's see. 1804, your line should be open if you had a question for Ms. Tate.
Yes. Ms. Tate, thank you so much for being with us today. I just wanted to ask you, you mentioned very early, and you just mentioned again actually, about what you consider to be these ventures that you think black men expect to go on to during marriage or relationships. Can you elaborate on that a little more?
Well, my main point is to say that he's not going to be into you and only you. He might be into cars. Okay, so you got to deal with. He might be okay. He might be into other women. He might be into cars. He might be into drugs. What you going to do with? Which one you want to deal with? But he was programmed like he was programmed. A little boy to go on adventures like white men. They would go out and go on adventures for days and leave them wives at home. And the wife would be sitting there by the window waiting on her husband to return after he went on an adventure. So black males, they don't know. They do the same thing. That's the way they were taught. And the programming started when we were young in elementary school. See, so it could be anything. I had wrote this in the book, of course, so that it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be cars. But they're just not going to be into you and only you, and they're not going to be committed to you and only you. They might be committed to the race cars or something, The expectations, that's what we got to lower our expectations. Did I answer it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Before I hit the next caller, just with regards to those adventures that non-white males, black males are programmed to want to seek out. I know you talked about in the book, part of that is the sexual adventures, going out and having some sort of sexual fantasies or adventures with other females, especially white women. And a big part of that is because, and this just painful, being truthful, that under the system of white supremacy, we are all conditioned, the image of beauty that we are programmed, groomed to have is that white women are the image of beauty, not black females. And I think that's another one that plays into those fantasies that we just have to be honest about, that black males are programmed not to have that much regard or value for black females. Does that play into this whole adventure thing?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, black males have been programmed to to desire white women. And, of course, some of them go out there and make that, that fantasy to come and make it reality. But the same thing goes for him. He's with a white woman. She knows she's with a boy, And but again, my research didn't cover black males with white women too much. And what takes place, other than a lot of lying. But based on, I did have a story in the book where one of my friends, a personal friend, was involved with white women, and it just like I said, it was it didn't go nowhere. It was just sexual exploitation of the black male. So yeah, black males have fantasies too. Yeah, they got fantasies too, and they have to come out of their fantasy. This is not just the females, the males also. They got to come out of the fantasy and start picking up a book and picking up stuff to to see what's going on, because the relationships with white women, they come to be tragic. And it's still black males with white females today as we speak. But again, it's the master and the slave. And the white woman in this case is the master.
Right on. Next caller. Again, I forgot all to give her credit for helping us get in contact with you. Co-author of the Interracial Con Game. Big fan of your work. I know this to be true. Pam, your line should be open. Hi, Pammy.
Hello. Greetings, Miss Tate. So good that you came back. Greetings,
yes.
Justice.
Yes, to you.
I agree with so much of what you said. I mean, to me, you're just spouting a whole lot of wisdom on this phone. I did want to just make one quick comment real quick. I just want to say that I think it's just as important that we acknowledge the programming that black females received. We talk a lot about the programming black males received, but we all grew up in the same society, exposed to the same images of beauty, the same images of masculinity. So I just think it's important, because sometimes I think people's expectations of black women are a little too high, as though we grew up in a different society. So, but I did have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did have a question, because I don't want both of us are victims, and I think it's really important that we keep that in mind. The black female in bed with the white male is still a victim. The black male in a white female's bed is still a victim. I did have a question for you. One thing I was concerned about is, oh my God, it's blowing my mind, and that is the black women are not just being subjected to being sexually assaulted by white males. I find increasingly a lot of black women are finding their way into white women's beds. And I wanted to know if that was something that you might address in the future, or had you considered
that's another subject. Yeah, that's a hot topic too. But I did address that, because I did have I think a lady, a person named Miss Anti-Sex. I don't know if I have to look to see if I had a story on her, but she was into white women. And, of course, I did mention that. Again, at the root of this homosexual stuff is racist white men and women, at the root of it. Okay? So that's the root of the homosexual stuff. And one way that I saw from the research that they get into it, I think they said the number one sex that they get into with, that I found was oral sex. Now, that's licking on you. Now, what happens is, they do a lot of licking, okay, and then they deny her the penis. Well, after you do so much licking, you ready for the penis, or ready to be penetrated. Well, what happens is the white man then don't penetrate her. So automatically she goes into this confusion. She began to think something is wrong with her. She began to just go into different, she confused because she's not getting something that she's supposed to get. So she figured that this is the way it's supposed to be. And what happens is, I think the way I stated in the book, that they can lick you right into being a lesbian.
Oh.
Okay, because she get confused. That's a way of confusing you. You see, and then you licking and then not penetrating. And at a point in time, you're ready for the, for the penetration to take place, and then it don't take place. That's confusion. You become confused in your mind, So, yes, I do it. That is another subject that I can get on, talk about at another time in terms of the lesbian, because I had to deal with lesbian sex in the book, too, which we call anti-sex.
Yeah. I did have one last question for you, and that was, are you considering like having a website in the future? Because this information is so important, and I'm so afraid of so many black women getting sucked into this, believing that this is a better alternative, being with white males or being with even white females or other females. And I just think this information just really needs to be, it just needs to be more.
Yeah. Well, it's the programming, They put Ellen on TV, and now all the females are dressing up like males. But see, I had talked about that. They was trying to come up with a third sex. Way before it happened, I was talking about that. So it's nothing but confusion to keep people confused. Now you're confused. They didn't have, it used to be the males. Now they got a large number of black females who are confused about their sexuality. I don't even see how, because a black female got to come on her period. And she have cramps. And that should remind her every day that she's a female. So I don't even know how they got this going. They got everybody dressing up, but they keep stuff in their program. And next thing you know, it's on television. Then next thing you know, you start seeing it in the public's eye. You start seeing it all around you. So whatever way they want us to go, all they got to do is put it on television, and we'll go that route.
True. That's true.
We'll go that route because we don't have a code of our own. We don't have our own codes to follow. So we follow right behind them, doing everything that they do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Let's see. Person that called in 1740. 1740. Did you have a question for Ms. Tate? Caller, last four digits 1740. Did you have a question?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hello. Hi, can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Hi, Gus. Hi, and hi, Ms. Tate. It's a pleasure to hear you again. I find this conversation very interesting. One of the things that I have found very painful with a lot of black men, and you mentioned it before earlier, that they see white women as the standard of beauty. In my past dating experiences, I've noticed that most of the black men, especially darker-skinned black men, I can never figure it out. I'm a dark-skinned black female myself. And they just seem to have a huge color complex. I could never really quite understand it. And I just always found it very confusing. It was something that was deeply painful to me, and I had to battle that for years. And that's something I find that when people talk about black-on-black relationships, that they don't really talk about it that much, but colorism is a huge factor in how black men look at black women. I find that a lot of black men judge black women based on their skin complexion. In other words, I feel that a lot of them, you have to pass their paperback test. White folks did it to us in the past, and now I feel like with the media, dating relationships, whatever they put on these rap videos and the successful black men, no matter how beautiful black woman is, as an authentic black woman, it doesn't seem to be good enough. It always seems to be it has to be another kind of black woman. Either she's mixed or she's never good enough as just being a black woman. It has to be an improvement of a black woman. And that's something I've always found deeply painful. I've dated white men in the past, but it was more so because it was reactionary, and I was very, very hurt from the treatment I received from black men and what I perceived they felt. I thought of me, and I've always, looked at black men as my soulmates, but I don't feel a lot of times that they see black women the same way we would love for them to see us, and it's something that's very deeply painful. And but I'm a big fan of this show. It really took away a lot of the hurt and confusion, and listening to Gus, and I have all of Pam's books. I'm a huge fan of her and the other authors, the Beauty Con Game and everything. And it really helped me understand, and it really took away a lot of pain. So, I'm able to look at things from a more of a more, not so much using my heart all the time and letting it affect me, but I feel like we need each other, black men and black women. But, part of me can't feel hurt, and that rejection, and that's something I find that you Gus, Pam, you, Miss Tate, are one of the few black people who talk about it, is the colorism and how black men judge black women based off of a paper bag test. I didn't take up the whole time. I really had to get this off my chest. I thank you for answering.
Well, it's understandable to be hurt, because I was hurt too, so it's understandable. But again, if we look at the problem from its root source, that's supposed to ease everything up for us. The black males are victims. They have been programmed to chase after white women or light skin or whatever, and light skin ain't even, they want the white ones now. What light skins ain't even better, is not good enough. So they want the white ones and stuff. So, yeah, he's been programmed. So that's why I say earlier I had said, look at the problem from its root source. That pain and stuff is what we've been told. That's a lie we believe. And that's why it gets so painful, because we've believed in we're supposed to have a male for us. Supposed to be one at least for us. It's going to be into us, but it's just not like that, and that's the pain. But when you deal with reality, it eases that pain up. They are victims too, and they were programmed. We all have been programmed. Okay, and black males get raped too. Okay, so it's a whole lot that we ain't, that it needs to be dealt with too, but black males, they've been programmed to desire white women, so that's just how it is, Now black males can do some things about that themselves. They can stop fantasizing, because usually the white males, the white women that they get are the ones that the white men don't want. They get the trashy white women. And they should ask the question, but see, she's still the queen to them, even the trashy ones, the ones that white men don't want. But he's been programmed like that. And that's how they put him on that different track. So naturally, this is disaster. In elementary school, they put that black male on that track to go after white women so that they don't be into us. That's how they keep us divided, and that's how they keep us conquered. Because white men are waiting for black females to be disappointed. And when they are disappointed, white men going to get them, because they know we're going to be disappointed, and we're going to soon run in their bedrooms. See, this is all a setup. It's all been pre-planned. Divide and conquer. So we're going to run in that bed with that white man because we're dissatisfied with that black male because they don't like dark women. And then when you get with a white man, he'll say, because see, I'm dark-skinned too. And, oh, you so beautiful. They never heard that. That's how they got me. You see, you so beautiful. You see. You know, black male said that. You see what I'm saying? So the white man say things that we ain't even heard from our black male just to get us. So it's all set up. It's a setup. The stage has been set for black females to run to white men. But see, they're not forcing us like during the slavery era. They're not forcing us now. So now that you'll walk into it, and then they'll say that it was consensual. You didn't get raped, and then they say it was consensual. See, so they got all this stuff set up for you. That's why we got to be studying. Really, we shouldn't even be thinking about relationships. And and I was a relationship addict. So, and I'm saying we really shouldn't even be. We should be focused on something else, and then the relationship will come. Now what it's going to be like, I know that's important to people. Relationships are important to people. But if we focus our attention somewhere else, the relationship will happen. But now, how is it going to sustain itself and the outcome? We got white supremacy to deal with. And we cannot end white supremacy ourselves. But we don't have to put up with it. We can say no to it. I'm not going to be in a bed with white men. I'm not going to tell lies to myself or to my partner no more or to anybody I know. I'm going to tell everybody the truth. And if I think about the relationships, with my black male is failing, before I go to a white man, I'm going to read some books and stuff, and then I'll talk to him on the phone and ask some questions. So there's certain things that we can do, but like I said, we need to stop doing a lot of stuff. And that means stop having sex with white people, black males and females.
Hello?
Yes.
I thank you for your time answering this question. And thank you too, Gus. Keep up the great work.
Appreciate it. I would just keep looping that over and over again. We really shouldn't be thinking about relationships as top priority on the plantation. I think that's part of the programming as well, to have us focused on any and everything above.
Each other.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
They got us focused on each other, and we should be focused on. They don't want you to focus on them in the white supremacy because they know we can unravel that. See, it was put together by men, and it can be taken apart by men and women. But it was put together by men, but boys and girls can take this thing apart once we understand it. Okay, it's a way to be taken apart. But the main thing is what they produce. It's held together through lies. And when black people get fed up and say, "Look, I'm not telling them more lies. I had enough." Because see, I remember I used to have to lie to even get things when I was young, and I wanted to get a car or apartment or whatever. I had to tell lies to try to get in and get certain things. So they got you lying. Us lying at an age, too, to try to get some things. Then they show black males, and then they come on TV and put the black male in kissing on the white woman, and they do the same thing with the black female, keeping us. That's a way to keep us divided. So they work at keeping white supremacy. They work at maintaining white supremacy every day. So we should be working every day, too, to counteract it. Okay? We should be working every day to counteract it because they work every day to maintain it. So all they got to do is put a black woman, put a black male with a white woman on TV, kissing and whatever, and that keeps that division there. So they keep this stuff going now. They keep doing this over and over again because they got to program it. You see.
The person who dials in on Skype, Jar Talk, I guess, is your handle on Skype. Your line should be open.
Oh, good evening, Gus, and to you, yes. Yeah, my question. Yes, my question is, well, first, a lot of black men like to talk about the fact that they have these so-called options when concerning to dating or marrying other people. But when we look at the statistics, though, there's a higher divorce rate concerning interracial relationships, like marriage, among black men than there is black women. In your opinion, what do you think that's so?
You said it was a lot of. You said there's a lot of breakups among interracial.
Yeah, among concerning black men and women, when it comes to interracial marriage, the divorce rate is higher among black men than there is black women. Why do you think that is so?
Well, it depends on who they married to. If black men are married to white women, they don't understand racism, and white women are for the cause and for their cause, and they are to their cause. You know what I'm trying to say? They are really focused on the cause. Some marriages among white men and black females last a long time too. I know that. I have seen that where the black female will be with the white man for a long time, many years. I have some friends in that category. But as far as the black male, I just say that he doesn't understand racism, white supremacy. And see, she plays same thing. She plays around with him too until she's tired. Then she let him go. After she use them up and finish playing with them. Black males are white women's boy toys. So she toy around and play. How?
No, and why would you think that black women can be more successful in those interracial relationships than black men?
Why do I think black females are more
successful in those relationships than black men?
Successful? I'm not saying they're successful, but they are not what black females want, but they just stay. I think I said earlier that the white man believed that if he married a black female, he's more free to do what he want to do. Mess with anybody. And the black female going to sit there and not say nothing. She not going to ride him. So why does she put up with it? I don't know. I really don't know, but I will say that she's not going to put pressure on him. And I'm not going to say that she's not happy, because she still don't have what she wants. But she just willing to put up with more. She just found somebody that she can put up with. Maybe that's what it is. She found out that she could put up with him. But she's not happy. It ain't what she wants.
So if she produces children, what do you think is going on in her mind? Because now they produce offspring. Does she have resentment towards the children, in your opinion, or is she happy about that?
Offspring, if they're going to produce offspring, that's going to first be the white man's or a woman's decision to do that. If they're going to have babies, have offsprings with the black person. Okay, normally they have these offsprings to start confusion with the black people, period. That's why they have them. They can start confusion. You can go confusion over, it's just light-skinned versus dark-skinned, half white, half this and half that. You see, it's nothing but a bunch of confusion to keep going among black people. You see, if they have kids, it's not for any good purpose. It's just and then what happens is they grow up not liking their black parents. I mean, I think we've seen that in Imitation of Life, They grow up not liking the black parent. Or not, he ain't this, the black male, he's the black father. He ain't this, he wasn't no good. So they grow up with these attitudes toward black people, the interracial couples that have children. See, they don't be mad at the white people, they grow up being mad at the black people. Because they start a lot of confusion among the black people, see.
All right, thank you.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Let's see, the person, this is 404. 404, if you had a question, your line should be open, 404.
Greetings, can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Greetings to you, Gus, to the guests, as well as Justice and the listeners online. You got to me just in time. My battery was about to go out on this phone. What I wanted to ask the guest, that when she was on the last time, she had mentioned about the white female that was responsible for her brother's death. She said she had left a child with them. She'd walked away and left this child. If it is not being too personal with her, can she say whatever became of this child? Did y'all end up raising this? I believe the child was white. Did y'all end up raising this child? Whatever became of this?
Well, she was non-white, and yes, she's still with our family. Yes, she's still with us. We took her over, and we're not going to let her go down. You know, she don't have nobody. The lady in the Miss Powerful is now deceased.
Oh, she transitioned
lady
as well.
In the book.
Okay, because in the book that you wrote, you said when she showed up at your brother's funeral, she showed up with another black male. So I thought maybe she was still alive.
No, she's now deceased.
Oh, yes,
Miss Powerful is now deceased.
Okay,
yes,
I do appreciate.
We got her non-white. We still got her non-white offspring.
Okay, how did she make out this female? Did she go back in white, or did she marry with someone black?
Oh, she's with someone black. Again, she's biracial. She's part white and part black, but she's but when her mother dropped her off on us, she told her, straight up that she was black. Okay, now, but she's very, very light, and she can pass for, if she do have woolly kind of hair like ours, but then if she do her hair up, she can pass for white, but she's doing fine. Yeah, she's doing fine.
Okay.
So my mother adopted her and everything, so we still have her.
Well, thank you for the discussion, Ms. Tate. And one other question I wanted to ask you. You were saying about being upfront with your relationships, about saying because black men and women cannot really be men and women in our relationships. And to be honest, in going back to what you were saying with what our parents went through when they were coming along, isn't that in a way creating dishonesty in our children? When we are sticking around for the children, we are telling our male as well as female children that it's okay to expect your men to step out on you or to have relationships on you, and there is nothing that you can do about it. Aren't we in a way kind of upholding the system by being covert in that and not being upfront with them, even though we know that our husbands might step out on us or the wife, etc.?
Oh, you saying if we stay together?
No, if we
have children, is that what you're talking about? If we stay together?
No, I was thinking if we tell children that yes, these things are going to happen. We don't say anything like back in my mother's day when these things would happen. Wives never really discussed up front with their husbands. They would just, as you say, just grin and bear it. But if we're doing that with our children now and we are not explaining to them, we're sticking around in the relationships to maintain the two-parent home, and we're not letting our sons and daughters know that this is not acceptable behavior. We have to break this cycle. And this is something we should try and not do. If you cannot be committed in a relationship, then you should not enter into it.
Well, again, we can't solve problems like that. We have to look at we have to solve the problem from its source. But like you might be saying, well, in the meantime, what do? All we can do in the meantime is to have our kids be honest with our kids. That's all we can do in the meantime. We can be honest with ourselves, honest with our kids, honest with our mates. That's what we can do in the meantime. We can stop the programming. Like I said, with the television and everything. I'm not saying don't watch the news or whatever, but we should relax on that TV some. We take a relaxed break off that TV and get the kids to talk more.
and let them ask you questions, because they're going to ask you questions. The thing about it is we can't turn them down when they ask us questions. We can tell them, if we don't have the answer, we tell them we get back with them when we get the answer. So that's what we do with our kids. You know, we be honest with them because they want to hear the truth too. See, the kids, they come out wanting to hear the truth. And then the white people feed us lies. And then we believe that to be true. Because we don't expect them to be lying to us in elementary school. We think it's true. You see? So the thing about it is we can be honest with ourselves and our children, too. And let them ask questions.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you very much. I have to hang up now because my phone is starting to beep, and I don't want to disrupt the quality of the program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The person that dialed in. Person that dialed in from 4517. Your line should be open.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I just have a question in regards to like relationships. I guess people that you've grown up with. How do you navigate people being in tragic relationships?
How do I do what now?
I'm in the area called Canada. There's a lot of tragic relationships around. Like a lot of my friends that I've grown up with, they're in tragic relationships. How do you navigate that socially? How do you deal with that?
A lot of your friends are in tragic relationships. Are they black?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, they are going to be tragic because when everybody got two different meanings of what relationships are, they are going to be tragic. There's nothing you can do, but, people just have to start, looking at the problem from its root source and start trying to attack. Don't run from the problem. Just look at it from its root source. And if they black, the root source is white supremacy. And you got to get an understanding of that, understanding of white supremacy and the division, divided and conquer. They keep us divided so they can keep conquered. They keep us conquered. So whatever they have to do, put a white woman in or the black female get this white man who can do everything for her. Then she, come into the white man's bedroom. He knows she's going to be disappointed. So, yeah, there's going to be tragic relationships because we don't know the definitions are wrong. The definitions are not coincide. There's no harmony. Won't be no harmony because the definitions are gone, are just, opposite of each other.
How do you navigate those relationships after they've already committed that? Like, how do you navigate being around them in social settings, or how do you...
Ms. Tate, I just for clarity, when he says tragic arrangements, I think, and you can correct me, caller, I think he means he's around a lot of non-white people who are sexually involved with white people, and I think he was asking how to deal with that. Is that what you're saying, caller?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay, so he's involved, okay. He's around a lot of non-white people who are involved with white people.
Yeah.
Okay, and you think that these are tragic relationships based on what I said, or based on how you know they're tragic?
Yeah, I've read the code. I've read the code. I've read interracial con game, so I'm pretty good at understanding.
Oh, okay. Well, how do we, what can we do about it, or what can they do, or
how do you not what we can do? We can't do anything about their decision to do it, but how do you navigate that socially? I mean, do you just be polite, or how do you navigate it socially with them?
Okay, so are you saying you go out together and you know that these
are certain social settings? Yeah.
In social settings.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's that's the time to listen, write stuff down, that's the time to listen and write things down, what you hear.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen, do a lot of listening, because we need to listen a little bit more, too. And make notes. Listen and take notes. And do more reading and everything, of course, but you just got to listen and take notes. Because it's going to be around you. I mean, does it make you mad?
Sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes.
Yeah, because we do, I can understand that sometimes, They parade around the streets with sometimes the white men. Nowadays, they parade around the street with the black female nowadays. It used to be that they wanted to stay hidden. But the black female said she's not going to be hidden no more.
Yeah.
So now he got to come out.
Yeah.
Okay? Now he got to come out to the public. Because, see, the black female told him she's not going to be hidden no more. You take me out. Okay? So she did say that, okay? And he abided by it. So I know how you might feel anxious and stuff, but, just kind of listen and see what they talk about, if they talking in front of you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're going to see stuff, but I know it might make you angry. But you got to realize this has been going on for a long time. So there ain't no point in getting upset about it because it's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
Okay? It's nothing you can do. You can't, I know it's upsetting, because it used to be upsetting for me, too, to see it. To see the black women with the white women, see the black males with the white women, that used to upset me too. But it's been going on for so long. So when you realize that, it's been going on since slavery era, or probably before, you kind of calm down with it. And like I said, you can listen to see what they talking around you and see, what they talking about. But black women don't want to be hidden no more.
Yeah.
Nowadays, black women don't want to be hidden. They want the white men to take them out. Okay, because they see that black male out with that white woman around. So now the black female says she want to be out there in the streets too. She wants to be paraded around. She don't want to be in back no more.
Yeah.
Now black females need to take that and say, I'm not going to have sex with you. Because if we can say I don't want to be in the dark no more, we can surely say I don't want to have sex no more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if, let's say, if a relative is getting married, you'd not go to the ceremony, or how would you deal with that without dealing with backlash?
With the
I've
relative?
heard Gus say he wouldn't go to the ceremony at all, but there's a lot of backlash. Of ceremony? Like a wedding.
A wedding? Well, it depends on, on that one, what do you feel about marriage?
I don't feel we should be getting married to white people.
Okay.
And I don't feel I personally don't want to go to the ceremony myself, but it's only because of other family members' backlash as to why you didn't go.
You got a backlash from your family?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's trying to come into your own awareness, and as you come into this awareness, you're finding out that people are going to be resenting you for it.
Yeah, that comes up too.
You run into resentment.
Yeah.
Because you come into this awareness. Well, you got to just, come up with your reason for not going. You can say you don't believe in it. But you still might make your parents mad, make your family mad.
It still like, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's going to happen.
I become prejudiced. Or I become racist.
Oh, you become racist. No,
I can't be a racist, but they would say you're prejudiced for not going, or not going along with it.
Well, do you think that hurt you? How you?
It doesn't hurt me. It's just a matter of just dealing with the backlash. It doesn't really hurt me. It's just a matter of hearing the backlash.
Well, then don't go.
Don't go.
If you think it's going to be something, a backlash where you don't want to hear it, you can go. Go.
Yeah.
But just don't be upset about it. Just go on and go. But it ain't nothing, like I said. What it is, if it's a black thing, it's a master-slave relationship. And we can't, until people understand, we can't be getting mad because people, the female or the male, the black person don't understand. The white person is the one you mad at if you don't get mad, but the black person just don't understand. And they don't understand because they haven't came to that point where they need to start researching and finding answers to things. But if it's going to create a backlash that you don't want to be bothered with, just go on and go. Because, the way it goes is people got to read. Everybody not going to be clicking at the same time. That's another thing for you to understand. This is a united independent type thing. Everybody not going to come on board with this at the same time. People are going to run into their own problems and stuff, and then they'll come into the enlightenment. But people not going to be enlightened at the same time. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody not going to be on board with you at the same time. You doing this alone. Okay, so when you get into this race thing, remember, you are by yourself. When you tackle racism, white supremacy, you can't turn around and look for other black people. You have to keep going based on you are by yourself. Yes, I had my family members mad at me, but I just let them be mad.
Yeah.
So it depends on how you really feel about it. They're going to be mad. Let them be mad. But you are by yourself. You're not going to have a group of people coming on board with you. You're all by yourself when you tackle this problem called racism. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for answering.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I just chime in really quickly? Can I just chime in really quickly? I have an anecdote along the lines of what the last caller just asked. I just wanted to tell him really quickly that, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Tate, but I just wanted to tell him really quickly that I recently went to a Thanksgiving family gathering, and one of my cousins brought his white girlfriend along to the gathering, and I basically we're Haitian, and I basically spoke Creole the whole time, and she only speaks English, and I just basically spoke Creole the whole time, and at the table, and finally after, and I could see that my his mother and my sister were both kind of trying to veer the conversation back to English, but I literally just never addressed her, and I just kept it in Creole. And after 20 minutes, she asked her boyfriend to just leave the table and go downstairs. So that's how I dealt with it, and I would probably not go to their wedding.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but you're by yourself. Like I said, when you tackle this problem, you're by yourself. Everybody not going to be on board at the same time. There's going to be some black people that, saying, what's wrong with you, and, and all that, and, but you're out there by yourself.
Before we hit the next caller, I just wanted to toss in, because this has come up before where people have called in. This is rampant. This is an integral part of how the plantation operates, white people sexually exploiting non-white people. I would say it can be a great opportunity to have dialogue about racism. I think Mr. Fuller, someone asked him, and he said to be very pleasant, very courteous, and you can invite everybody. Your parents or any other family members who are concerned, who you think might have some flack about this. You can invite the white person who's supposed to be coming into the quote-unquote family. Invite them, and you can just explain your thoughts, your view on this. You can have literature. You can have Miss Tate's book, Pieces of a Puzzle. You can have the interracial con game. You can have the code Mr. Fuller's book. You can bring literature. You can have visuals. And just give an explanation. And it's also a great opportunity. You can ask questions. You can ask the white person, ask his permission. Can I ask you a couple questions? Do you think there's a problem? Do you think racism is a problem on the planet? And see what he says. Do you think there's a problem between white people and non-white people worldwide? See what he says. It would be a great opportunity to ask questions. The non-white people, I think, as Ms. Tate has said, they might get angry. Some of your family members, even if you're asking questions courteously, they might get angry, and that's to be expected. It is United Independent, but I am a big advocate, and these are just a suggestion. Certainly pick your own way, but my suggestion is to make your stance known as to why you're not going and invite that dialogue on racism. And the reason I say it, number one, I think that's very important in terms of, I think Ms. Tate in her book, she says that non-white people have a very weak value system, and in trying to correct that, having a counter-racist code about certain behaviors that are just not acceptable and making that clear and standing by that, I think is very important. And I call it banking on racism, white supremacy. What that means is expecting white people to be racist. If they go through with this, at some point, just based on statistics, these relationships, these tragic arrangements tend to fall apart. Bank on racism. Bank on, hey, we have this dialogue, even if it's 5 years down the road, if it's 10 years down the road. If this white person does eventually practice racism, which is super likely, you have planted a seed. Even if it's 10 years in it, you have planted a seed as to there's something incorrect about this, and it's related to racism. I would wager you will probably come out on that, even if it's 10 years down the road, might be 20 years down the road. They might remember that and say, wow, I remember that discussion. I'm ready to talk. Such and such said this, such and such did this. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to get more information. That's just a suggestion. Certainly do, whatever you think would be best. And I think, as Ms. Tate said, if you decide that you want to go, that's an opportunity. You can take notes. You can go to the wedding, take notes, and still make your stance known or not. Just a suggestion. Let's see. The person who called in, last four digits, 5876. Did you have a question for Ms. Tate?
Yes, I had a question for Ms. Tate. Hello, Ms. Tate.
Hi.
All right. I was just thinking, now, I do feel that I can overcome, as I learn more about what this is, what white supremacy, I can overcome I feel that with time over years, I can overcome the programming. I'm not saying I can stop, but overcome my own programming. But when I think about black and female relationships, it took me about a decade to really come into my own black identity. Before that, I didn't really feel like any sort to my roots. But my question is, how can I adjust my thinking in having faith that me and a black woman would work? Because I don't really I get along with black females on like a friendship level, but as far as relationship, I always feel that I was different because of my upbringing. I grew up in the suburbs and everything, but non-black females, they respond better to me, and I get along with black males fine, but how can I not prejudge them? Because I always have this thinking that, okay, all black women are ghetto, but they're not. And how can I not prejudge them? Because I have a hard time having faith in this black woman. Would she be a right fit for me? Because I find that other women are better for me just socially than the black woman. I'd like to have them because when I meet someone who's kind of like myself, that's where I start to think, like the ones who are in college, that's when I start to think that they're a right fit for me. Like, how can I adjust my thinking and have faith in black women again?
Oh, okay. Well, you got to understand racism, white supremacy, and understand what happened to black females. Are you black?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And you just have to understand what happened to black females, and black females got to understand what happened to black males from the elementary school. What happened in that programming still continues. You see, I just was talking about a black male on TV kissing a white woman. See, they keep it going. So once you understand how they keep this thing going, they keep that division in there. Black females are victims of racism. We don't control nothing. We are victims of racism. So you can change your thoughts like that, but you probably have to do some reading, you know, because everything, you know, we can't say most of the stuff is said in books nowadays, you know, but black females are victims of racism. We've been programmed, too, as little bitty girls, and we are disappointed, too, because we can't find what we was looking for either. That fantasy, see, what you have is a fantasy. What that fantasy is not, you know, it's just a fantasy. It's lies. It's not no truth in it, you know. So that's how you can start changing your attitude. You got to look at it's a problem. You see it's a problem. It's a problem how you feel. Well, it's a problem how you feel. Most black females are not ghetto. Well, that's a problem. What is the root source of the problem? We got to take the problem and take it back to the root source. Okay. I mean, I'm not understanding, you know, if that's the way you think. You think all black females are ghetto, but you say, you know it's not true, though.
Well, what I mean is like I had a perception because when I would encounter them, because my social circles consisted of it was kind of like 50% white, and then the other half was like anyone but black. 10% of my friends were black. The ones that I did get along with were kind of like perceived as kind of outcast, Oreo type people like myself. And those are
okay, but because there's nothing wrong with being with another non-white female.
Oh.
There's nothing wrong with that. We're talking about the white people, okay? But there's nothing wrong if you want to be with a Mexican female, African. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as they're non-white. Okay, because non-white people are all under white supremacy. All non-white people are under white supremacy. But you don't have to be with black if that's not what you want. Just go with a non-white female.
But
Mexican, Asian.
Okay. But in the context of, but when you say that, it's like I don't be with black. But it's like, well, I like to be with a black woman, you know. And I feel like I was like, yeah, I'd like to, but I just can't seem to, you know, when I meet one that I do like, she isn't like the perception of a black woman I had in my mind that I wouldn't want to date. But unfortunately, they're already with other men, or they're like, I run into them once in a blue moon, and they're already with a man who's either sometimes white or sometimes he's Mexican, and so on and so forth. It's like, okay, I feel like it's slim pickings for me. It's be inspiring to find a black woman to feel that, you know, might.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with being with other non-white people, but if you want to be with black, it doesn't matter. Non-white people have been socially programmed. It's not just black people, but black females have been programmed and programmed as an early age. So their thoughts and stuff and actions and stuff, you know, it's just under a program. We've been lied to. Okay? So you can start there and forgive black females because we've been lied to. And we can't help the way we was programmed. Because it took place now. It's happening in the elementary schools today. They still program black females and males not to be on the same track. Did you ever date a white woman?
No. But I've been with someone, they didn't identify with white, but I've been with a white-looking person. They were, yeah.
You know, the code told us too. If the black males are really strung out there with the color thing,
okay.
that they should at least get with. It's black people who look white, but they are black. If you're really strung out there on the color, there are black people who look white that you can be with, but they black. I'm just saying, if you're strung out there and you really need to have somebody light, you know, there's a lot of black people who are light. And it's best to go there than to go with a white woman.
Well, I'm not that far gone. However, you know, I do find sometimes those people are easier to get along with, but, I mean...
Well, yeah, black females say that about white men. They easy to get along with. You're going to see that in the book. You know, they treat you better. So they're going to do all that. They know how black males going to treat the female, so they're going to do the opposite just to keep that. You got to keep remembering that they dividing and conquering. And racism is inside of you, in your thoughts, the way you think. But I'm not going to be mad at you because you were trained like that. So you can't get over this, you can't get back with the black because you were trained not to be with black. You were trained to be against black or be against yourself. Okay? But that's no reason for me to be mad at you. Just you got to realize your thought, you got to clear out, you got to take all the bad stuff out and put new stuff in. We got to sit down and look at all the stuff that we've been trained on and say, well, no, that's garbage. That ain't working. We got to reprogram ourselves. You look at the truth of it. I mean, you can come to some neighborhoods. You can see black females. You said you don't be around them too much?
Yeah, I don't have no, because I'm still on that kind of like, you know, I've had better just friendships with white women, so it's hard to have, if it's older black women, it's easy, but if it's like, kind of like someone my peer, that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know, you know, that's where it gets kind of tricky, because I don't have too many positive experiences with them.
Oh, okay. Well, remember, we on two different tracks now. So it's set up like that. It's a set. But you have to change your thoughts. I can't change them. You got to change your thoughts. The way you change your thoughts is with information. You need information so that you can change your thoughts. Okay.
Okay, I agree. Thank you.
Understand?
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Well, let's see. I think this is Non-Mighty Wick. Struggling with my line. Oh, whoops. Struggling with my lines. Be patient. Be patient with me. Okay, there we go. Non-Mighty Wick, your line should be open.
Hello, can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you for coming on, Ms. Tate. I wanted to get your opinion real quick on just which group of non-white people, in your opinion, is the larger group. And that's the first group is non-white people who are engaging in sexual situations with white people or willing to. And then the second group is non-white people who are not willing to and are honest about that choice.
Who are not having sex with white people? You said what group is larger?
Correct.
Well, I don't know exactly what group is larger, but we know it's enough people to keep white supremacy going. Okay, and it's not just the black females. It's Asian females, too. But I'm not here for Asian females. I'm trying to, it's the Asian, it's the Arab females, non-white females. Okay, we know that they hit the young people. Okay, but approximately how many people are doing it, I tend to believe that most of the people who some older black people are probably not engaged in, sexual intercourse with white men. But it's not the older ones, it doesn't matter. It's the young ones who matters. You see what I'm saying? It's the young people. They keep it going with the young people, the next generation. Okay, so that's how they keep it going. You understand?
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The person that dialed in, let's see, 0889. 0889. Your line should be open.
Hello. Hello, Gus. Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I was listening to your guest, and I agree with everything that she said, about us being programmed, because I was a former social worker. And one thing that I totally agree with her when she said that the black people were programmed ever since we were children, I think it goes back even further than that. If you remember the Kenneth Clark experiment when they took the black dolls and the white dolls? And if you go back, see, I'm going to tell you how black people have been programmed. Okay, when we were little children, notice all your cartoons are white, all your superheroes are white, your Santa's white, all the great lovers like Casanova, Romeo and Juliet are white. So black people, if a black child at 5 years old will tell you that white dolls are better, and if they stay confused, what do you think they're going to tell you at 35? They're going to want to marry a white person. You see, and you're right, they've been programmed. And also, too, see, that's a form of self-hate. And I remember what Welsing said. I agree. If you're a black person, and if you're not attracted to anything that looks like you, or that tells you that you're full of self-hate. And another thing that I've noticed about black people marrying white people, and have you noticed, when they get with white people, most of the times in most of these relationships, black people get with white people that have less money than they do, less education than they do, no power, and they have no desire to end racism and white supremacy. And I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and listen to what you have to say. Go ahead, because I like what you're saying tonight.
Well, that's true. Money is the main hole. Yeah, I understand that too, because I understood the couple that I knew about that was black. The white was a black female married to a white man, and she was doing all the work, and he was staying at home. Right. And at that time, it wasn't that popular to do that, But he was doing all the, he was staying at home and let her go out there and do all the hard working and stuff. Because I knew a couple like that.
Right, and that doesn't that remind you of slavery on the plantation?
Yeah.
And you know what? And two, I have seen that. I remember when I had a neighbor years ago. I lived in Springfield, Illinois. It was a black woman, white man. Now, when they were together, and I guess they got into an argument. When that white guy, he never worked, he did nothing. That sister went to work, and when she put him out and she got wise, he tried to break in the apartment. He still called her the N-word. And and two, it's because you get with a white person, the white person you could get with can still be a racist. Look at Halle Berry. See, our people are just all the way confused. And there's one thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to hang up. And there's something that you had mentioned. You see, even if a black person tells you that they say, well, I want to marry anything other than a black person, if a black person says, I'll marry an Asian, I'll marry a Mexican, they can be just as sick and just as confused if they say, they don't want a black person, They say anything but a black person, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we don't, but we not, those people that you mentioned are non-white.
That's right.
They are under control of white supremacy.
Exactly.
The Asians and everybody non-white is under the control of white supremacy. So
exactly.
usually the non-white person end up acting like a black person. is, we can get quite comfortable with that other non-white person from a different ethnicity. We can really get comfortable with them because we find out that they are, like us. So in other words, if there's no men among the black population, there's no men among the Asian population either. Okay?
Right.
So white supremacy got everybody subject to them. All non-white people are subject to them.
Right. And you know what? All non-white people now had conversations with Asians and Mexicans, and I'm telling you, they are just as confused as black people. I talked to some Asians about racism and white supremacy, and I closed my eyes. I could have sworn I was talking to black people, But the only difference but the only difference between, blacks and these other groups is that, we were slaves here, and there's a little bit more support for them than there is for us. But like I said, with me, myself personally, I prefer to stay with the sisters more than anybody else. Before I date a Mexican or a Arab or a Asian.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying that's a choice that you do have.
Right.
But as long as it's not a white person, you do have that choice.
Oh yeah,
to go to a non-white person, and it's not for us to get upset over because they victims just like we are.
Right. And see, and that's what. And I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna hang up. And that's one thing that I've noticed. If black people, Mexican people, Arabic people, if we would all wake up and understand white supremacy, this system would go out under tomorrow. Because if white people are a tiny minority and we're helping them keep it up, but if black people got wise to it, we can really damage this system in our favor.
Yes. It's just that we don't understand how white supremacy operates, but it operates the same way on them as it does us. Okay, they keep division among the races. I don't like to use the word racist, but they keep divisions among the other non-white people against the black people. They keep a lot of division that way, too.
Right.
Exactly. See, we try not to keep this divided like that, because the same thing is happening all over to all non-white people. So that's the one thing that we should be in harmony with, that racism exists to all of us.
Right. And
white supremacy exists to all of us.
Right. And see, that's one strategy, is to keep black people divided between black men and black women, to keep Mexicans divided between Mexican versus black, black versus Asian. As long as people in turmoil and fighting, and they're confused, white people, they got the system, they got it made.
Right. As long as there's a lot of chaos and confusion among the non-white people, they got it made. But when the non-white people start coming out of it, they know their time is up, see?
That's right.
And we start coming out of it. And eventually we'll come out, but it's not going to be everybody at one time.
Right.
Right. Everybody is not going to be all at the same time. It's going to be at different times, but eventually we will come out of it.
Exactly. You're right. It's going to be a very long time from now. It's going to be, I don't know how long, but I tell you, you're right. It's going to probably take thousands of years. If we, like I said, we all just wake up and see what's going on.
Right. Yes, that's right. It's going to take a while, but we can come out of this.
Right.
We can deprogram ourselves.
Right. Hey, it's been nice talking to you. I'm going to hang up.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Hang on. It has been a doozy of a program. Before we get ready to close things out, I did want to ask some of the listeners. They were saying that I think they use the term colorism in terms of non-white people, black people, not liking, just all a part of what white supremacy produces, but non-white people fighting amongst each other about who's lighter, and darker non-white people being in conflict with lighter non-white people, and vice versa. I think they used the term colorism to describe that. And they were saying that when you gave out the suggestion, if you are a black person victim of racism and you are attracted to, or only attracted to, individuals of the opposite sex who are light complexion, or only attracted to white people to just try to date or be sexually involved with very light-skinned non-white people. And they were saying that sounds like it's supporting colorism to do that. Could you kind of give some of your thoughts on that? Is that even counterproductive?
No. Yeah, no, that's not. That non-white person is non-white. That's a black person. She just got light skin. That's all. But she's still black. Okay. There's no difference about that. They don't give light-skinned black people status. Now, when they want to play with us and confuse us, they sometimes do it, give them status. That's why they have non-white offsprings with us, to keep a lot of confusion going. Okay, but I was just saying, as long as the person is black, but black people come in all different kind of shades. So that's what the black male can understand. Black people come in all different kind of shades. And there's nothing wrong with him being with a light-skinned black female. She's black. Okay, she's black. She's not white. It's the white that's got, and they know the light-skinned black females and males, they know they're not white. They know it, and some of them don't want to be associated with white. Because the bad things that white people do. So no, they not. It's all right to be with a light-skinned black person. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's if the guy's so color-struck that he, can't come out of it. It's always some light-skinned black people that he can be with. As long as they're black, they suffer just like we do. It ain't nothing different. They didn't treat them different. I mean, the white girl that's with me, the non-white girl that's with me, she was put with me with our family, but she was told she was black. And she looks very much like a white girl. She's very light. But she was put with us, but she did not meet the color code. Her mother was white, and her mother told her that she was black. So her mother know who she had her by. She did not meet up to the color code, to the white people color code. See, that's what's important, what they think. Do you meet up to their code of being white or being light? You don't meet that. Okay? You have to be pure white. And that's how they look at stuff. You got a little mixture in you, you're not white. They don't want no mixture. They don't want no mixtures. Okay? You are black if you got any kind of mixture in you. Or you considered Asian. Okay? If it's a white person with an Asian person, you considered Asian. But you gotta be, you can't get that white status. Not everybody can get that white status. And black people cannot get that. I don't care how white we are. We can't get that white status. It's the black people that look white that you have to ask them. And we still can't. That's why it's a stupid thing to have this color thing going on anyway. Because there's black people out here I have seen, whereas I think it was the albinos, the black albinos. I was in the same room with the black albino, and I was told to, if I ever run into this, to study it. And I did. And it was the black albino, and it was the white people in the same, and we were in the hospital. And when the black albinos sat down, they sat down with their black father, but the father was dark in color. So the mother could have been albino. But these albinos, these black albinos, when I looked at them up against the white people, the black albinos were lighter than the white people. So it's a mess. They got this color thing. And we got black people who are whiter, who look whiter than them. Now, when they saw me looking at everything, I was watching the reaction. I was studying this to see how they was going to respond. The first thing they did was jump up and get out the room. They left the room. Cause you can look at them, and then you can look at the black people. The black people, the albinos, got flat nose. You can tell they black, but they whiter than the white people. But when the white people saw me taking notes and looking, I wasn't really taking notes, but I was taking notes with my eyes. they jumped up and got moved out of the room real quickly to separate themselves from what I was doing, because I was watching them, you know, to see how they was going to respond. I was told to watch out for a situation like that, because you don't know who to call white. These are black people who look white, okay, but they real light. The only way you could tell if they was white by the black is by their features. So we have black albinos that's lighter than white people. So black people come in all shades. Even in white, there's a shade of white. But we're still black. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right here.
Yeah.
We get ready to close things out. Mighty Wick, if you had a final quick question for Miss Tate, if you want to go ahead.
Hello, yeah, Miss Tate. Quick question. Just in your opinion, the non-white people who are in sexual relationships with white people, do you think they are needed in order to reach or in order to obtain effective numbers for replacing white supremacy with justice?
Do you think they are needed? Do I think they're needed? Well, put it this way. I don't know, but they are. If they with white people nowadays, they are. Even if they are real confused.
I agree.
You know, they are really confused, and they, you know, it's just you just have to wait to see how things go with them because they are real confused, and those are the ones that really might hurt you. You see what I'm saying? They might hurt you over a white person. So you got to kind of be careful with the non-white people that's involved with white people. You got to be careful with them because, see, they'll hurt you. They're going to be mad at you, at the black person, see. So you got to kind of be careful with them because they're real confused.
I think, you know, they may be among the most confused non-white people who need help the most.
Yes.
I suspect.
Yes.
And I'm
anytime you're having sex, yes, anytime you have an intimate contact or that sex with them, you're going to be confused. And they're going to be despised. In other words, they hate themselves. They really hate themselves. Okay, because they with white people, and that's what they want to be. I seen a girl that had a girlfriend that was messing with a white man, and she was dark-skinned, and she would put on extra makeup to make her look white, to lighten up her skin. She couldn't make herself look white, but she would put on makeup, and you could see the makeup. It was lighter to lighten up her skin some. And she was dating a white man, and she was very erotic and crazy. Yeah, so it was somebody I kind of stayed away from. But she was really out there trying to protect white people. The least little thing you say, you know, she'd get upset and everything like that, you know. And so, yeah, they really are, the ones that's with them, they are really confused. And they do not like black. Okay, they don't like themselves, and they don't like other black people.
Thank you, Ms. Tate. Thank you for your answer. Have a good evening.
Okay, you too now.
The book, again, Pieces of a Puzzle. The one thing black females will not talk about. You can pick a copy up online. It's on Amazon.com. Lots of constructive information. Folks who were asking about the questions that you can ask white people when you're serious, questions to reveal truth about how the system of racism, white supremacy works. She has many of the questions that she asked the white people in the book. She also has many of the questions that she asked some of the non-white people, victims of racism, that she interviewed as well. So if you want some examples of questions that Ms. Tate used, you can get the book and that'll be in there. Great info. And I will encourage again, If folks out there, if you have listened to the program, if you read the book, write a review. You can put it on your blog, or if you have a website or any web resources or real estate that's online, where you post, where you can put commentary up and what have you that non-white people read, that picks up a significant amount of traffic from non-white people. Mention the book, put some sentences down, write something. You can, if you have the book, you can take some passages, maybe write out a section of the book, a paragraph that you think reveals truth about racism, white supremacy, that might plant some seeds in some non-white people's minds, get some interest for non-white people to rethink what's going down in the bedroom. Definitely put that information out there. I think Pam has said repeatedly, those reviews make a big difference when people go and they see the book on Amazon and other sites, and they see, as I said, 50, 100 reviews that are positive, lots of stars, 5 stars, great material, revealing truth about racism, white supremacy. It does make a difference. So don't just be a spectator. As I said, even if you haven't read the book yet, even if you haven't got it yet, if you're going to get a copy, if you heard this program, you heard the other program, you heard a lot of information about what's in the book, you should be able to put down some sentences to support a non-white person who has written a great book revealing truth about racism. Anything you want to say as we close things out, Ms. Tate?
Well, I guess I say the same thing. Get the book so we can start studying. We have to study more. Yeah, we just have to start to get all kind of books on racism. Mine's not the only one, so we can study. And everything else will come and fall in place.
Absolutely. I will repeat. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you?
No, it's fine.
Okay. I will repeat what was said earlier. Relationships, maybe that really isn't the top priority that we should be focusing on the plantation of racism, white supremacy. Maybe the top thing we should be focusing on white people and understanding what white people are all about, what their top priority is on this planet. And I contend it is about maintaining, dominating, terrorizing black non-white people worldwide forever. And getting a better understanding of how they do that, how they have done it, things they're doing every day that maintain dominance over non-white people. I think if we spend a little bit more time focusing on that, that might go a long way to improving how we relate to other black non-white people. I could be incorrect. Thoroughly enjoyed having you back on the program, Ms. Tate. I hope we'll be able to do it again. Lots of people dialed in.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I know listeners appreciate you spending some time with us on this December 25th as well. We will be back a little bit later in the week. I hope, again, folks are investing their time and energy in a constructive manner. We'll be back. We'll definitely have the study session on this Friday on George Orwell's 1984. I believe our 4th installment, 1984, this Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and 4 p.m. Pacific. And again, if you have been participating in all of the quote-unquote holiday madness, if it's been constructive, dial in to share that. If you had, opportunity to talk about racism with attempted family members, that is fantastic. Would love to hear that. If it did not go so well, if things were on the non-constructive side, you can dial in to share about that as well. And, just again, hoping that folks are using their time and energy, currency, in the best possible manner to replace white supremacy with justice. We will be back end of the week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Context of White Supremacy. Signing out. Thank you all for tuning in.
All right, thank you.
Christmas Eve.